file a, quote, return. Return what? You couldn't be returning anything to anyone unless they were first the employer, if you will, to give it to you to begin with, which isn't true in the private sector. Okay?
Yeah, that's absolutely true as well, although the return concept has a couple of different potential meanings. The return can be an answer as well, and in fact, the 1040 return is indeed specified as the means by which an answer is made to allegations of the receipt of income, and also it is specified as a claim of refund. It's an automatic claim of refund. So it has there are a couple of different nuances to the application of that particular term.
Right, but in this instance, and I speak from my own personal experience here, Pete, is that I know that you've said it throughout your book that the law is on your side.
Absolutely.
Right, and in my experience, though, in dealing with these people over the last 14 years, I find that they do not comply, or a lot of times they will ignore their own law. And do whatever they're going to do anyway. Now, is the reason why I've wound up in this situation because I haven't had the proper rebuttal, the proper regulation to rebut what it is that they've done? For example, the last time my employer was levied, okay, I did not provide. Well, obviously, I have to go back to square one. I did not provide a rebuttal to the employer's W-2 or 1099 or whatever the case may be to begin with.
In the first place, sure. And that made all the difference.
Yeah, right. And so after that, now, and I'm asking you from the people that have done this with you, and all these people have got their refunds back, after they have taken that step and they've rebutted their 1099 or whatever they've done. Okay, now, in my experience, and I go back to the Irwin Schiff days, if you know, and I'm sure you do, anything about him, he would file a zero return and he'd put, Supreme Court cases attached to it. Now, I filed that, I turn around and get a frivolous penalty. Have you too?
Well, there are a small number of those CTC-educated people have received notices that make a reference to the frivolous penalty, but those notices that they get are very carefully worded in such fashion as to be legally meaningless. And in fact, of the thousands of people that have acted on the knowledge and cracking the code, there's only one that's actually had money taken from her, and this was money that was taken exclusively for a $500 allegedly frivolous filing penalty, and it was over a year for which she had already gotten a complete refund of everything that had been withheld from her during that year. So it was a gibberish situation. This is one where there was simply a loose cannon IRS agent that didn't know how to read, or maybe wasn't even conversant with the fact that this woman had already had her refund claim upheld and recognized as non-frivolous. They'd given her money back already, and he went ahead and presented, as a matter of fact, a notice of levy, what we were just talking about, to her workplace, and that outlaw workplace pretty despicably just went ahead and deducted money that it owed her and gave it to this third party just because this third party asked for it. A real tragic situation, but the only time that it's ever happened. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, another thing I want to bring up, you brought up the subject of a K-1. A K-1 is what? A capital gain on a real estate? Is that what
it
is?
No, it's a dividend payment notice. It represents or is intended to report the payment of dividends from an S-corp to, which is a federal corporation, to stockholders in that corporation.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question then. On the subject of, and I couldn't find anything on this in your book, guy buys a house, pays $500,000 for it, sells it 2 years later, for $600,000. There's $100,000 what is they consider capital gains. Now, is the title company, I assume, reports something on that, right?
Oh, they undoubtedly would.
Okay, so is that rebuttable, or is capital gains a liability?
Here's a short and concise summary of what qualifies as income, quote unquote. That is the subclass.
Okay, well, wait. All right, I'll tell you what. Hold that thought. We're going to get what qualifies as income as soon as we come back to the break. Then we've got a long segment. I'm going to open up the phone lines and allow some of the listening audience to have questions that they can call in and ask Pete directly.
Good.
So we'll be back in 3. Michael Herzog, The American Awakening, with my special guest, and I'm very honored to have him, Pete Hendrickson, and Pete can answer the question when we get back. See you in 3.